Welcome back to That Dad Guy. It's March 11th, 2023, and today's the day that I answer your questions. Now, if you watched last week, it was the first Saturday in the month, so that means I was answering the question from February, which was, I'll get my February card out again. What thing in your area would you recommend to a tourist to see if they could only visit one thing and why? So last week, I read off all the cards that I had received to date of people that were responding to that question. Well, this week, more cards came in answering that question. So I'm going to start with those, and if more of them peter in through the coming weeks, I will answer those. So those are question one. There is a question two out there, and it is, what is the most popular food from your area specifically? Where is the best place to get it? So that might be your favorite restaurant to eat it, or maybe it's a certain candy bar that's made there or something or other, or who knows what it is. But that's the question for March. So you can feel free to send a postcard to my address in the description, answering that to let us know what's going on around the world and different things. All right, let me check in with some of these other ones here. All right, this envelope showed up. This comes from Sam in the United States and in Illinois specifically. And in it, she sent this postcard. And it's the Giant City State Park. And it says, when people think of Illinois, they assume you mean Chicago. I live in the southern part of the state, nearly 5 hours from the Windy City. To my surprise, it's not all flat cornfields here either. Giant City State Park is one of the gems of our area. Really neat hiking trails through giant sandstone rock formations. Wish this card had an image of them, but the lodge, which is pictured here, is a great old-timey lodge where you can get an excellent southern meal like famous fried chicken dinner. So thank you, Sam, for that. Gives us another indication that there's more in Illinois than Chicago, if you didn't know that already. Maybe you didn't know Chicago was in Illinois to begin with. But, yeah. And I really like how she's created this envelope. This is France there on the front, not Illinois. All right, so thank you, Sam. All right, the next card that I came in answering it was this one here. This is beautiful Clearwater Lake Provincial Park. This card comes from Virginia, and she's in Manitoba. She said, I would suggest a visitor to visit or stay at Clearwater Lake Provincial Park during the summer. It's located north of The Pas, Manitoba, about 39 kilometers following Highway 10 and 287. The Campers Cove or the Pioneers Bay there, camping, hiking, biking, swimming, canoeing, and the scenery is beautiful. I enjoy it. Then she just talks about enjoying watching the YouTube channel, and she finds it especially relaxing. So great to promote the hobby and the stamps. So there we go. So thank you, Virginia, for taking the time out and sending this card from Manitoba here in Canada. The next card I have is this one, and this comes from Maria, and she says, sorry for not sending this earlier, but I had to go down to the Acropolis Museum to get a hold of the card from there. So this is the Acropolis Museum. She would suggest to someone not to miss the Acropolis Museum. How many museums are there where you can see the Akio Monument? It's mainly dedicated to and from its... Oh, from the museum you can see the monument through the windows there. When you stayed in the Parthenon Gallery, I have a hard time reading it. Sorry, Maria. I've got water damage on the back of it here. So the Parthenon is right there at hand's reach. Visiting this museum, which has opened since 2009, is important for one more reason, so that the foreign travelers understand that the Parthenon marbles that are on exhibition in the British Museum after they were stolen by the Earl of Elgin at the beginning of the 15th century need to be returned. These belong to the Greeks, and its marvelous contemporary museum should be their home. And then at the bottom it says bringthemback.org. So returning the marbles. I just want to show you here on the back. We've got a bit of water damage that's going through here and here. So I apologize, Maria. The sentiment is go visit the Acropolis. You can see the Parthenon from the museum. The actual, I'll show you the stamp so you can see. So here's the museum that was opened in 2009. You can see the marble, the Acropolis right there. So, and the stamp depicts the same thing. And then the sentiment at the end is that marbles were stolen out of Greece in the 15th century, are now on an exhibit in the museum in London, and the Greeks would like their property returned to them. So I'm not sure if that's going to happen, but it may in time. I know one thing about museums that give you an opportunity, and maybe they should be traveling, or they should be things that are on loan. If we go into a museum in Ottawa, for example, one of the big museums, and we want to see Egyptian art, there is Egyptian sarcophaguses or different things that would be on tour in different museums. So it gives you a chance of seeing cultures and places that you haven't seen before. But I do understand and support the fact that they should be the property of the country that they came from and just be on loan. There's a very funny British comedian called James Acaster, and he does a bit about this in support, really, of the Greeks, saying, you know, there's Greek people, they come, they bang on the museum door, and they say, you know, we're here from Greece, we're here to get our property that you guys stole from us. And the audacity of the British people in the museum say, well, we're not done looking at them yet. So you gotta, I don't know, it's a tricky subject. I support you, Maria, that property that belongs to others should be returned. And there's a whole lot of slew of messy tape in there to get to. But to keep this on the positive, if you're in Greece, if you're in Athens, go to this museum, check out everything that's beautiful there, and one day I'd love to do so. Okay, moving on. The next one comes from Moncton in Saskatchewan, Canada. Excuse me. Face it the right way up. So there's the map of Saskatchewan. There's all the different things that you could possibly see, the things that they're known for. But on the back, he says, okay, you are going to have to respond to me on this, if you would, please, because you always put in your notes that it's El Keef, and then you always write at the bottom, all the best, M-O-N-T. So what is your full name? Are you female? Are you male? Not that it makes a difference, but it's always nice to address you properly. Says, hi, Rob. There are a lot of interesting things to see here in Northeast Saskatchewan, but my recommendations would be the Humboldt Broncos crash site memorial. It was created by the kind-hearted people shortly after the accident. It has dozens, if not hundreds, of tokens left to tribute both of the victims and the survivors of this accident. It's beautiful. All the best. So there you go. There are the stamps. Add an extra special one there. An older one didn't need to, but it's beautiful. Thank you very much. All right, let me do an explanation. The Humboldt Broncos were are a hockey team, and unfortunately there was an accident, and when they were traveling, many of the hockey team members and coaches were killed, and all across the country, really, memorials went up. People put hockey sticks on their front porches in memory of the accident, and country in the hockey community for sure rallied around this team. It was very beautiful. It was a tragic event, but it was nice to see how people came together in support of it, and really tried to help the families and things. So a very sad situation, but if there's a monument that's beautiful to it in Northeast Saskatchewan, it would be worth checking out. So there you go. Thank you very much. All right, the last card that I have coming in is this one here. It comes from David in San Francisco. Excuse me. Said, so much to see in San Francisco. However, in 2023, this year is the 150th anniversary of the cable car. So I would tell people to ride the cable car. David. The stamps on the back of the card. It's very glittery. You can see the cable car. You can see Golden Gate Bridge. You can see the famous row houses that are from the show Full House. The winding road in the background. So this car really depicts that there are lots to see, and still much more than what's on this car to see in San Francisco. It's a beautiful city. But yeah, cable cars are wonderful, and if you get a chance, go and ride it. And if you're there this year, it's the 150th anniversary. All right, so all those cards are going to end up in this binder. And then that answers February's question. There may be still some more cards that peter in, and we will show them if they do arrive. The other question that I have that came out for March, so on the first Saturday in April, I will show all the cards I have received to date for that. To answer this question, what is the most popular food from your area specifically, and where's the best place to get it? So I know I said that at the beginning of the thing, but I say it again. All right, that catches us up on the answers to my question. Now let's get to the questions you have for me. So Amber from Missouri says, have you always been a mail carrier? No, I have not. So I've been a mail carrier for just over 10 years now to date of the filming of this video. I'm going on my 11th year. Before that, I was a financial advisor for 6 or 7 years. Prior to that, I was a planner in a paper mill in Vancouver. So I've had a bunch of different jobs. I've been a sous chef in a restaurant. I did that during my university years. Yeah, I delivered newspapers as a boy. I've had a bunch of different jobs, and some longer than others. But yeah, I've been a mail carrier now for quite some time. And at this point, I suspect I'll be a mail carrier till I retire. That is the plan anyways. The next part of that question was, what does your wife do for work, and what did you guys do, go to college for? Okay, so lots of questions from Amber. So my wife is in brokerage with a trucking company, so which means that if you've got a load of something or other to go from point A to point B, you might call up to her company and she might try to track down a truck to pick up and deliver that, and then she's responsible for the communication between that truck driver for pickup and delivery to make sure that it happens. So that's what she does. And last part, what did you guys go to college for? So I was a history and political science major in university, and my wife was an art history major. So neither of us are really practicing what we went to university for our degrees, but they say all the experiences you get learning those degrees and meeting the people that you did in university all helps to develop you. So I don't think it was wasted time being there. And certainly had we not gone there, we probably never would have met. So there's that as well. All right, let's move along a little bit. Amber has one last question though. She says, do you remove the stamps from your post-crossing postcards? And if so, how do you do it without ruining the postcard? The answer is I don't take the stamps off of my postcards that I get. That hobby stays specifically or separate from my stamp collecting hobby. I do not want to ruin the postcards or the messages that are on the back of those postcards by removing the stamps. So if you send a stamped postcard to me, the stamps remain on the postcard. If you send loose stamps, then those stamps can go into the collection. All right, so thank you, Amber. All right, the next question says, this one comes from Eric in Canada. It says, as an employee of Canada Post, do you know if Canada Post has any plans to add barcodes to the stamps like countries like Germany and Great Britain have done? No, at this point in time, I don't know that Canada Post is planning on adding a barcode, but if I had to guess, I would say yes, at some point in time, there would be barcodes on most countries' stamps, just because it's easier for tracking, it's easier for telling whether a stamp has ever been used before, because if it doesn't get canceled, some people will steam them off and glue them back on and resend them off. And if it doesn't have a barcode, there's no way of telling if that stamp's ever been paid for and used in the past. So a barcode will, when it goes through the computer, it's going to cancel it even if you don't see a mark on it. You could also have a stamp that gets canceled without an imprint on it with a barcode, which might take away from those people that collect cancellation marks. So there's pros and cons for these barcodes. But as of yet, I haven't heard that Canada Post is going to do that. But I suspect they will at some point in time. All right, let's see what else I have. Wendy says, you didn't actually answer the question for Eric. This is a couple weeks ago, where he says, what was the composer's name for my intro and outro? And I don't have an answer for who the actual composer is. I said it was it came from the free music library of Apple Music, and so it was just a titled something or other. Let me see if I even have the title here. I think I do. I think I've written it down. Redondo Beat Short Intro is what I call it, or what it's called on Apple Free Music. So if you're looking to have the exact same music that I have on my video, that's what it's called. All right, so those are the questions from that group. Now let me find the questions from last week's group. Apologize. Okay. Just trying to find out if there's another. I think there's another question. Okay, here's one from Lieve in Belgium. It says, what is your top 3 places you still want to visit, and do you prefer cities over nature? Top 3 places still want to visit. So always going to put Japan on the top of that list. It's been asked before, and so yes, Japan is on it. And yeah, it would be great to see Tokyo, but I would really like to see the ancient shrines and things that are hidden up inside some of the mountains and do some of those hikes. So I'd like to see that. I would love to go to Egypt and see the Sphinx. That's still on my list to see. Machu Picchu, love to go and do the hike there in South America to see that as well. Whether those are top 3, probably top 3 there, but there are other things. St. Petersburg in Russia, would love to see. Going to Athens in Greece would be beautiful as well. The world is covered in places that are exotic and full of culture and beautiful food, which is also enticing for me. So yeah, at one point in time, I would love to be able to have my YouTube channel and take you along with my wife and I, and just go and travel the world and see what's out there, experience different things. That would be the dream if I could do that. So thank you, Lieve. What else do we have here? Okay, here's one from Sam, and she says, you mentioned your town is known for lobster. How do you like it prepared? She's originally from New England, and so is it whole? Is it in a sandwich? Something else? She says she's a native New Englander and always had lobster rolls. Of course, it's debatable whether the best to have hot or cold lobster rolls, but that's a different story. I don't think that's debatable. I think if you're having a lobster roll, it's going to be cold lobster in it with the mayo, with the celery. That's the best way to have a lobster roll. The bun is lightly buttered and toasted. That's fantastic. How do I like my lobster prepared? Normally, I like it boiled, and then on a plate, I crack it open. I'll cut the tail, the claws off. Some people like it in with melted butter to dip it. I don't. I just like it straight. So that's how I would have my lobster. I do like lobster sandwiches. That is a quick way to get a lobster feed in. And if you've seen some of my videos in the past, in the summers, I certainly do eat some lobster rolls along the way when I get a chance to do so. But if I'm going to have a special lobster meal, I want a whole lobster, and it's been boiled and prepared that way. All right, so hopefully that helps. David here actually puts a comment on Sam's. David's from San Francisco, and he says, in the past, lobsters were considered a poor person's or low-class food, as lobsters were scavengers. That's very true. My mother growing up didn't have a lot of money, and she took lobster sandwiches to school with her, and a lot of times, out of embarrassment, she would throw them out. So, yeah, around here, if you were poor, you ate lobster. Now it has flipped around, and we export lobster all around the world. and it become a bit more pricey. It is cheaper for us to eat lobster here in Atlantic Canada than it is to say on the Pacific coast, where the lobsters aren't native. When we lived out there, the price of lobsters was very high compared to what we get it for here. Sometimes we can get it for like $5.99 or $6.99 a pound during the season, and even now off season, I think it's about $13.99 a pound. So compare that to wherever you are in the world to see whether or not it's a little cheaper here. All right, and then I think that may be it. Let me just check. I've got a couple people saying that sorry, the card hasn't arrived yet. They'll come. Okay, here's one more. This one comes from David. He says, with regards to your binder storage, so this is how I store my cards in binders like this. Do you prefer a certain size or orientation, vertical or horizontal, so it fits easier? No, I can make any card fit in this. The perfect fit for the plastic sleeves that I have, which are these, are 5x7. So a 5x7 card will fit perfectly in here. But if your card's 4x6, it's going to fit in there. If you've got a long horizontal one, I usually put it in the bottom one and face it up, so it still fits. But if you sent a card that was like 8x10, for example, I would just get a full sleeve and put it in. So I can make whatever card you send work into my binders, I'm pretty sure. Unless it's just massive, bigger than 8x10, which is already massive. But the perfect size is 5x7, and most cards are 4x6 or 5x7, so that works out well. So hopefully that answers yours, David. And I think that is all the questions I have so far from you guys. So it's been a bit longer video. I don't mind doing a bit longer video, and you guys have had great questions to ask, so I've been able to answer those for you. And for those of you who have had cards for my question 1 come in, I would great to be able to showcase those as well. So thank you for responding to that. Thank you for the people that are responding to my question 2 already. I've already got a card in for that, but those will have to wait till the first Saturday of April to show you. So maybe we've got 2 more Saturdays in March, the 18th and the 25th. So if there's any more cards from question 1 that trickle in, I will certainly show those on those subsequent days that are coming. So yeah, thanks very much for all that you guys are doing to participate and make this channel grow. It is growing. As of today, we're at 680 subscribers, so 700 should be getting closer, and always excited about any new flip over in the numbers. Makes me happy. So thanks for subscribing. If you haven't already, go ahead, subscribe, like, comment, and share with others, and leave the notification bell on so you get notified when my latest video comes out. There's my spiel again. So have a magical week. What, Polo? You say like, subscribe, share, and tell all your friends.
Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy?
Bye.